Hey everyone! Today we will talk a little bit about the headstand. Although it's called headstand and you are having most of the weight on your head, what makes the difference is if you can control and push through your palms or elbows if you are on your elbows in the classical Shirshasana A version. What I see very often is that people will not really use their hands and arms, and they will literally take it as a headstand, so they try to just bring all the way onto the head and somehow balance there, which is impossible. Your elbows can't lift in the headstand. They have to be pressing down the whole time because this is the leverage that you have in pressing your legs up. And also, by the way, pressing, I totally prefer pressing. I know it's very hard. For me, it was actually not that hard. And you need quite some flexibility, but maybe not. So starting from your tabletop, you bring the knees in and then you put your elbows down. You want to have not very big distance from the elbows. It can be even closer than your shoulder distance. And I don't really care about the whole trying to measure it with your arms. Important is that you still have a big length front backwards for you to press down. And then you make a little ball with your palms, interlacing the fingers, and you press the back of your head into the palms. Tucking the chin in helps first, and then putting the top of your head down on the mat. And this is where it's important to keep your spine very straight. You can see it here, where I will try to round my spine as much as possible. So I will really round, and you can feel that you have most of your weight on your feet if you round your spine. And then try to walk your feet closer. And I feel actually a lot of pressure also on my head if I'm rounding my spine. I can't really use my hands that effectively. While if I engage my back and I try to straighten my spine, bringing my hips super high, I can already feel feet very light, and I feel how the weight transported towards my arms somehow. You want to think hips up and back behind you. Walking the feet in, and this is where you want to learn to live and stay without any jumping. If you have troubles to really find your hips high because of the proportion of your body, you can use a block and give yourself a little bit more height or your legs more length. You have to also position the block at a certain distance away from you so you can actually use it. And then you press your elbows, so you press the shoulders away from the ground, you press from your elbows, and you press the hips up and try to bring those heels in and keeping the knees very close. The lower your center of gravity will be, the easier for you it's going to be to balance, since if your legs are all the way up, your center of gravity is very high and you have to do much bigger adjustments with your hands, elbows and palms back and forward, but also right and left to not fall to the side. If you like to use a wall for security, do it. I did use it for handstand and pincha a lot, and I don't think it was something wrong. I think it helped me, and it's still helping me. So use whatever you have, whatever tool you have, just so you find and you can go on your journey. The next one is the tripod headstand. That one is, for some people, easier. You want to place the palms near your knees, sitting on your heels, even turning your fingers just a tiny bit out, because your wrist will bend a lot, and if you don't have the flexibility in your wrists, then it might hurt. Also, turning the fingers out a tiny bit helps you to keep those elbows in. They are very important, again, to stabilize your headstand. So you want to keep them pressing in to find a little bit of external rotation, protraction in your shoulder blades. And then you put, again, the chin to your chest, trying to find the ground with the top of your head. In order to do so, you have to lift your hips. Again, tucking the toes. Use your fingertips here to redistribute the weight you have on your palms, also to your knuckles. So pressing the inner side of your knuckles, trying to keep the chin in at the chest. However, this can be very tricky for some people because of the shape of the head, and it can really hurt if you have a special protruding part of the skull on the top. So maybe finding a more flat part of the skull also to put the weight in onto, or you find more cushioning under the head, but it will be less stable. So maybe a thicker mat will be better for you. Tucking the chin in, putting the top of the head down, tucking the toes, and then lifting the hips. And again, so if you feel a lot of pressure on your head and on your palms, not really, try to use those palms and push the weight away from your feet. And here you have an advantage where you can bend one knee and put the flat part of your kneecap, as you bend the heel very deeply, onto your elbow, then maybe on the other one. And you already find a little bit of inversion here, although you are not using too much of, you're not balancing as much. And from there you can try to push the knee into the center, and you will feel how you should feel when you're trying to press up. Another thing is, if you're not used to stay on your neck or have weight on your neck a lot, then don't do this for an extended time. Start slowly and build up the strength, and also not just in the muscles but also in the bones. The more you put the weight on your bones, the more strong they will become. That's why you can just start and try it for a few seconds, and then after some time, doing it every day or every second day, you will find out that you can hold it a little bit longer. If you have nice splits, another option is to do scissor legs in both the A or the second version that we did. So one leg comes up, and then just so you have enough leverage, still coming towards your legs, don't raise the other leg, but rather try to keep the knee at your belly, which will allow you to tap into your core a little bit more. So this is another variation that you can try. And only once you have a lot of control, once you can control both the lifting and maybe different shape of the legs, maybe trying to put your legs into a straddle but still keeping them rather forward, then you want to try to work on lifting the feet, and trying to find a straight line. Straight line is another whole work that you have to do with your core, with your glutes, and also with your brain, because it's very scary to find that straight line. I wasn't straight for sure because I don't really go as much as into a headstand, and I don't try to go all the way into that perfectly aligned headstand, so I'm not used to it. I don't do it, I don't have it, right? But I know I can go into a back bend, which is something that you can try to learn afterwards, do not be afraid of going into that shape also, because for example I always tended to be very forward folding and more engaged from the front, so I had to work on finding a little bit of back bend there. There is a lot of variation that you can try. Nothing is really wrong or bad. Another question I get asked very often is if Feetup that I have here is good for training headstands and or any kind of inversion actually. And my opinion is, I think I wrote it in my blog, but I'm not sure anymore, I don't remember what I wrote there. But yeah, I think this is a great tool if you are starting or if you have neck problems to find control in being upside down. The way I started with inversions, before I even had a headstand, I would go to anti-gravity yoga class where you are hanging from a hammock. So you are basically working in a hammock the whole time. And my body would learn how it should move when it's upside down, because you don't have the coordination if you never did it. And I would do that for 2 years. After the first year of doing the class every week, I was able to do a headstand, or maybe it was even after 1.5 years. I don't remember now. But anyway, this helped me to really be aware of how you should move when you want to lift your legs but not go too far. And you had the hammock at the center of your gravity, and it was much easier. Here you don't have that, but you have your arms, and you also train how to use your arms. So I think it's a great tool, and I think it's fun, and it can totally teach you something. And even if you have your headstand, it can bring you something new, because you can still be afraid of going too far away, and here you have the leverage again of your palms to grab and not allow you to fall backwards. So you can explore those back bends if you don't have that. By the way, not sponsored, although I did get this for free from the company. Mostly these days my cats sit on it and it's very much scratched. I'm not going to even show you how scratched it is, because they fight on it and they like it very much. You are basically on your shoulders, and you can use your palms here to press down to lift your legs, but also once your legs are up and you want to go into a back bend and you start to fall back, your palms are grabbing the handles and they're stopping you from fall. There is also a different kind of grab that you can use, and yeah, you can explore and learn how to coordinate your body upside down, or at least everything from the chest down to your legs. One thing that you don't learn here is how to press those elbows and how to use your shoulders and triceps and biceps and the rest of your arms in any other inversion, so that you have to work afterwards on. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see each other in the next video. Bye!